What's happening here? This is Terry Kline, and I'm on Sports for My Pitbull channel.
Et donc, comme d'habitude, je vous ramène des informations, des archives qu'on pourra trouver nulle part ailleurs, surtout en français ou alors en anglais, sous-titré en français. On travaille à fond sur ça. Prenez du plaisir, partagez, informez-vous. Et c'est parti. Yo, what's happening here? C'est Junior Bigblackboy et on est sur la chaîne For My Pitbull. C'est parti. Yo! What's happening here? Can you introduce yourself, not only as a judge, but as a man in the pitbull world?
Sure. Again, my name's Terry Kline. You guys know that I judge, but judging is just a small element as far as the dogs. I've had the dogs for probably 25 years now.
Okay.
And I don't know life without my dogs. So, and it's not just judging and showing, they're part of my everyday life. You know, I'm very passionate, not just about my dogs, but more so as a student of the breed. I'm constantly learning from different breeders, different judges. I'm immersed into it. They're probably in the top 5 things of my everyday life. So they are, you know, I'm not just a judge. I mean, it's part of my life.
Okay. It's really interesting to hear. I didn't know you before.
Yeah.
And it's really, nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
Thanks. I could see your work. Yes, it's interesting to see different judge work into the ring because even if you have all the same, how to say that, something like a checklist into your mind, all the judges are different.
Yes.
It's nice to see the way to act. I could see then that when you were checking, analyzing the dogs, you raised your hand like this.
Yes.
You were watching. What is your technique? Do you want to talk about this?
So we can.
Personal technique?
So people do ask me why I do this. A lot of judges don't do it. I might be the only one, but when I hold my hand up, I'm usually looking for an angulation. I'm looking for how the feet are they flat? How the rib cage is lined up? I do this. It's all about angulation.
Okay.
So as I'm doing this, I'm usually also moving, but the dog by nature, if my hand is up, where's the dog's attention?
Okay.
Is the dog watching my hand? Is it intent to what is behind me? I just do it. It's just something that I started doing. I can't tell you why, but it works for me. Because I want to know, one of the biggest things for me is just the overall temperament of the dog. I want good, sound, stable dogs. So if they're more worried about what's happening here, and I know this is a distraction, so if the dog acknowledges it, but then comes back and he focuses on his surroundings and his well-being, then I know. Now some dogs, they just naturally, they're gonna look up and maybe they want to, you know, pay more attention to my hand than I have his attention, but I don't want to keep his attention. So I'll bring my hand down so that he can go back to being more of what he is.
Something interesting is that we meet after the show.
Yes.
So we have we could see a lot of things you did. I remember a ring, a class. There were 2 black dogs, and you were hesitating between the both for the first and the second place.
Yes.
And yes, you started to talk. I couldn't hear what you said, but you were talking about the dog with pulling and the dog with like static. And how to analyze angulation.
So I know
how did you make your choice between these 2 dogs?
One of the things that it just comes in time is not everybody has 10 dogs or 5 dogs. They might only have 1 or 2 dogs, and maybe they only come to a show once, twice a year. It's a little bit different in the United States. You know, people there's more shows, so they can go to more. So what it comes down to is if you have an inexperienced handler or a novice handler, they don't control their dog. And sometimes when they don't control their dog will do things that take the dog out of proportion. The dog's no longer proportionate, it's no longer balanced. And I know the situation that you're talking about is, it was a good dog, but the handler was letting that dog completely stretch out. So the dog was a square dog, but she couldn't control the dog. So now the dog goes like this. It pulls its arms up underneath. It changes the angulation of the dog. but the dog is conformationally correct.
Yeah.
So the challenge that comes in is people, your spectators, if they don't know, they may look at that dog and they say, well, that dog's long. But the dog is correct. The dog only looks long because the handler is not controlling the dog.
Yeah,
you know, now there's a big difference between an artificial perception and then is the dog truly long? And that can be judged through the loin and things of that nature. But
this is why we have to learn about the dogs, but also about ourselves.
of course,
Yes.
of course.
To make a better performance show after show. Okay. How did your journey with the American Pit Bull Terrier begin?
So my first introduction to the breed was back in 1993, 1994. A friend that I was growing up with, I was 16 at the time, he begged his mom, you know, to get a dog, and he got the dog. That was my first introduction. I went into the military in 1994, in July, and my journey, I was stationed at Fort Bragg for a bunch of years, and then in 1997, I went to Korea. While I was in Korea, the United States had Korean soldiers as translators. One of my translators had maybe a brother, a cousin, not sure, it was a long time ago, but he had pit bulls. And he said, do you want to go to my brother's house, cousin's house, whatever, and went up there, and I saw my first yard. It wasn't a lot of dogs. They probably had 5 or 6 dogs. And I was like, this is amazing. And when I came home, I knew right away, when I came home, I was going to get my first dog. I came home, they have a free newspaper in Pennsylvania. And I looked that up and it said American Pit Bull Terrier puppies. Called them up and I bought my first dog in 2000. And I've had dogs ever since. There's a small window for like a year. I didn't have any dogs. But I've had dogs ever since. And that's how it started. That's how it started.
And so outside of judging, what place do dogs have in your daily life today?
Yeah, so first and foremost, structurally, I consider myself, I'm blessed. God has blessed me abundantly with these dogs. So God always holds that first place in my spot. It then goes to my family. My family is second. We all need to have a job and work and things of that nature, but in terms of that structuring, dogs are probably third on the list of things. God, family, my dogs, because it's every day. You know, they are there every single day. You know, you come home, we spend time with the dogs. Some of our dogs we do send out, or we'll take them to training for, you know, obedience training, things of that. It's not something that I thoroughly enjoy, but some of the dogs need that type of involvement and investment. So we will do that. But the dogs, there's times where you can't do things because the dogs come first, you know?
Yeah. And what made you decide to become a judge?
The decision to become a judge, my path to becoming a judge did not start with the ADBA. My first judging opportunity came with a different registry that was owned by a gentleman, his name was T.L. Williams. That was back in 2007, and I was given that opportunity.
When you talk about opportunity, it's because someone asked you to do this, or you wanted to do this by yourself?
So I was actually, what happened is that registry, they needed a judge for an event, and someone had said, hey, maybe you want to talk to Terry Kline. And then that opportunity was given to me, and then I judged for that registry a couple times, and then that registry was sold. And at that time, then I didn't judge for a little bit. And in 2015, Havana Chico had put in a word for me. He needed a judge for the Tri-State American Pit Bull Club over there in New Jersey. And in 2015 is when I started judging for the ADBA, and you know, I've been judging with them since. So it was kind of, I had actively sought to become a judge with the ADBA, but when the time was right, it was because, you know, someone had given me the opportunity. It wasn't because I was beating on their door to do it.
Okay, top. And in your opinion, personal opinion, what makes a truly good American Pit Bull Terrier? It's difficult as a question.
It is a difficult question. I would hope that our judges would be comparable in somewhat of an answer. I'm definitely temperament driven. I like to have a good, stable, sound, temperamented dog. I think that's, they have to be mentally sound. So they have to have type, they have to look like an American Pit Bull Terrier. They have to have balance.
Yeah.
They have to look the type, they have to be balanced. There's also things that, we talk about in terms of what is the virtue of the dog, what makes that dog what it is. And I think if any part of that is lacking, you probably don't have a good dog. There's a lot of dogs. Today I saw a dog that I thought was it looked like an American Pit Bull Terrier, but its temperament, the soundness of the dog I thought it was questionable. But maybe it was just me. Maybe for Murad, there's no problem. But you want a well-rounded, balanced dog that possesses some quality of virtue. It is an American Pit Bull Terrier. It's aware of its surroundings. That's key.
Do you think too many people today focus on appearance and forget function? We are on sports for my Pitbull channel. I like sports. I like also the shape, but I don't forget the structure, the selection, all of this. What do you think about that?
So there was an architect, and I forget his name, forgive me, his name slips my mind, but there comes a saying, form follows function, or function follows the form. And that really pertained to the design of the building. And when you talk to certain people about the breed, the same thing comes out. So hands down, Europe is extremely passionate about sporting dogs in terms of their athletic events, top dog, things of that nature. So you start really, when you talk about strictly appearance, if you read and understand the ADBA heritage standard, it tells you what that dog should look like, and it should be a square dog. When you understand where the heritage standard came from, how it was written, a dog that fits the standard should be able to perform in probably almost any athletic event. Is it always true? No. Okay. I saw dogs yesterday on the wall climb or the lure course. There's a lot to be said about still maintaining the athleticism of the breed. You have to have, if it looks like an American Pit Bull Terrier, it should be able to perform the tasks of top dog events or weight pulling. So I don't necessarily know if I would say people worry too much about the appearance. I think it should be, you should take your dogs that fit the standard and then make sure that they are partaking in athletic events as the top dog and the weight pull. And if the dog is performing, then you probably have good stock. Now, again, you can have dogs that excel abundantly and they're not perfect conformation dogs. It happens. But if you have a good foundation off of the heritage standard, they should excel.
I understand you. And what mistake do you see most often into the ring, or maybe often from breeders? The kind of mistakes you can observe in this.
Probably the biggest mistake. I don't necessarily know that the breeders that I would say that I associate with that are passionate about the breed. They are true breeders. I would say very few make mistakes because they are breeding quality animals. I think some breeders tend to get into a tunnel or a kennel blind mindset where they stay so focused on keeping everything so tight that in time you start to create genetic flaws. You know, whether it be if they're cowhocked or maybe they don't have a good front end, a good chest. And when they see that, they miss it because they're more focused on a certain type of a pedigree in terms of bringing in a predominant trait that's not in their dogs to balance it out. You know, I think that's very critical. You do see it, but again, the breeders, I would say I do breedings, but I'm not a breeder. But the breeders that I know, they're, I would say 95% of them know exactly what they're doing. You know, and I know it's a little bit tougher in Europe. I know some dogs get imported from the United States over here, but when you don't have a large selection, you have to watch that breeding program because then you can start seeing recessive genes start to really replicate and it will hurt the breed.
Yeah, it's are you talking about inbreeding and outcross?
Yeah, right. Inbreeding, line breeding. So, I mean, we could talk for a while about just that in itself. So there's a big difference between line breeding, inbreeding, outcrossing, and not everybody may understand how that works. But if you're going to be inbreeding, you should be looking at outcrossing relatively sooner. Line breeding, you can stay in that line, but again, you know, bringing something that might be lacking, you can't find it. You're going to have to travel outside the line. And once you open that up a little bit, it potentially can give you better quality down the road. You know,
sometimes we can be surprised. I remember a friend of me made a breeding, but first he asked me what I think about this breeding, this potential breeding, and I was like, yes, no, I don't agree with you. You want my opinion? I give you, and I explained why. And yes, a few months later, oh, I had an accident at home, kennel accidents, but not this kind of kennel accident we can have. So he made a breeding with these both dogs. The dogs were completely different. And I was like, it's like, how do you say that? A bet, like if you play like by
a gamble.
A gamble, exactly, a gamble. But the result was, most of the puppies were really similar. They had a really good balance and they were really functional. They had a very big drive. It's just really interesting to see that. But we couldn't imagine in advance that it will produce this kind of result. Yes, it was amazing.
You know, I've seen it. I don't, you know, I know of a breeding right now that the breeder, they tend to keep their dogs a little bit more tight, line bred. And I'm starting to see some of the recessive, it's too tight. So when you see the pups, you start seeing some things that are like, you need to do something different. But I always look at it like this. I feed my dogs and you feed your dogs. And I'm not ever I will never condemn you for what you choose to do with your breedings. That's, you know, it's just not how I would do it. You know, like you said, some people take a gamble. They do a questionable breeding, but they get 2 quality animals out of it. And the remainder are subpar. Well, it was worth it for those 2 quality pups. That's, you know, that's them.
As an American judge, do you feel the pit bull culture in the United States is different from what you see in Europe?
When you take away everything with the exception of the dog, we're all passionate about the dog itself. That's for sure. But one thing that I notice, I may have mentioned it already, is something that I've been very observant to I've been to Europe a couple times now. There is a big passion for your top dog events and other events that relate to the athleticism, whether it's the A-frame, the hang time, long jump, things of that nature. That is something that we do have it in the United States, but if you were going to put it on a scale, Europe blows it away.
It's surprising.
I think
people in Europe, when we talk about United States, it's like everything is better in all the
I mean, I call it how it is. Being from the East Coast, we do have top dog events, but we treat them more as a fun class. So if somebody wants to do the treadmill race, but they don't want to do the wall climb, that's their choice.
Okay.
On the West Coast, I see more top dog events. There in New York, there is one club that is strictly top dog events. They don't do a confirmation show, so it's weight pull, top dog. I know there's a club, 49th Parallel, that's in Canada. It's not a United States club, but that's in Canada. They focus heavily on weight pull, top dog events. But on the East Coast, it's just not there. I just don't see compared today or yesterday, there were 73 dogs in top dog. That's not happening in the United States.
So but it's a good thing to hear for also our community from Europe. So, what do you dislike the most in this world around dogs?
It's kind of split. There's a couple things is that these dogs are amazing dogs, okay? And we need to do a better job at promoting the positive attributes of the breed. The breed is misunderstood, and with lack of information, lack of knowledge, we will make up knowledge in our own mind. It's just who we are as people. So the history of the breed, if you know nothing else, you just were told the history of the breed, anytime you see a pit bull, you're going to think to yourself, oh my God, it's a pit bull, or oh my God, let's put laws or bans against these dogs. But they're amazing. They are amazing. So I think as a community, we could do more to promote them. And the other thing is actually internally, I see it in the United States, I see it in Europe. We're all on the same team. And I understand that when you're competing at confirmation or you're competing with the top dog events, things like that, you're a competitor. You're a competitor. But I think we all could achieve so much more as a community instead of arguing and bickering with each other about, certain things. I would like to see that community more tighter.
I have the impression that we have the homework to I translated literally from the French. I don't know if I can say like that, but we have the homework to teach to the new generation.
Yes.
Of pitbull enthusiasts and dogs enthusiasts, but we also have to teach to the public who see us.
Yes.
Because now, when I make some movie about what's happened into the ring, a lot of dogs are barking on each other. For us, it's normal. We don't need to talk about that because we understand each other.
Yes.
But for the public, when I do this kind of video, I put a lot of voiceover and I try to explain correctly, contrary, and a lot of things. It's not so easy. Sometimes but why do you take a dog who bark like that and how do you feel to do that? But it's difficult to talk with people.
It is. It's misconception, and it's not just with the dogs. It's no different than, let's say, if you're raised in the country and I'm raised in the city. You're going to, by nature, take on an opinion of what you are told because you don't know. And then when you come to the city and you meet me, you're automatically gonna think something potentially negative because of something you were told. And that's, again, just the psychology of human nature. if you never met me before and someone said, hey, Terry Kline's not a good guy, the first time you would meet me, subconsciously, you're going to look for why I'm not a good guy. It's the same thing with the dogs. So, and you see it a lot on social media, where there's certain images of the dog that are promoted. We have to understand the dog is what the dog is, but without explanation or without understanding, you leave an open interpretation, and it could go good or bad. So, you know, that's the sad part about it.
I understand. Has the breed changed for better or worse?
The breed is changing. I would tell you that. You know, in 1999, 2000, when I got my first dog, I definitely seen a more well-structured, balanced dog. And time brings change. So the question that I always have is, why is it changing? It's generational. So we're getting further away from how the heritage standard was written. And then there's lack of understanding about the athleticism of the dog and how to maintain that. So the further away, again, I still see good quality dogs. I still see them. I just don't see as many of them. And that's because the breeding programs are changing. There's people that might not understand how to even do a correct breeding. And you can't, maybe you could say it. I mean, in 15, 20 years, I do question what the dog will look like. We're still gonna have good quality dogs, but the ones that aren't, what are they gonna look like? Because I do see it when I judge. You can see there's certain things that are starting to, you know, chest angulation. You start seeing maybe a little bit finer bone. And part of the way that you can balance that is the dog is a multi-dimensional athlete. Treadmill racing, wall climbing, lure course, A-frame. When you introduce these disciplines to the dog, you can visually replicate the athleticism and the performance of the dog and still maintain our dogs of yesterday, okay? But let's say some people, maybe they only focus on one event. Now you're going to have maybe a very heavy accentuated front end, but they're not gonna have a good rear. You're gonna start to lack balance because they're not developing the whole dog. And the whole dog is really designed for a complete package athleticism.
God damn. What should people understand about judging?
I probably would say is we're human. That's probably number one, is we are human beings. But then I would go into this, is that, again, the heritage standard is what the dog should look like in black and white. So when you sit down and you read it, you know, Junior, you read it, and I read it, how I interpret it could be a little bit different. That's the beauty of it, because if we all interpreted it the same way, every dog show, the same dogs should be first, second, third, every time. So that's number one. Do I make mistakes? Sure. You know, you get in there, you think you see something, you know, especially a day like today, it's raining, then it's cloudy, then the sun's out. You have black dogs, for example, or a brindle dog, for example. They can be very hard to judge. So, and the weather can change in the matter of a class.
Exactly.
I've made bad picks, you know, but I'm a human being, and I will own that, and I'm prepared to defend all my picks. It's not easy, you know, to be a judge, because whether there's 3 dogs that come into the ring or there's 20 dogs that come into the ring, one person's going to be very happy, okay? Another person's going to be like, today was a good day. The third person's going to be, well, at least I got a third. Okay.
I wanted to say the same thing, yeah.
But then you have the remainder of the people that they potentially are going to be very disappointed. And I always tell any show that I judge, I will talk to you at the end of the show. Bring me your dog. We'll talk about the dog in its entirety because I think I'm approachable. And I want people to understand why I made my picks because you're not going to make everybody happy. At the end of the day, as a sympathetic, empathetic person, I get it, but my job is to place the best dog that I see in front of me. And it's not always easy, and you're not going to make everybody happy. So when I go home on Wednesday, I'm going to stay here for a little bit. There's going to be some people who don't like Terry Kline.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it just happens. It just is what it is. It comes with it's part of the responsibility.
Yeah, yes, it's.
And it can be some. I know some of the exhibitors. You know, they think that some of the placements are political. You know, or they give it to their friend, or they give it to the club that brought them over. I hear it all. Yeah, you know, and I understand why. Because when you don't place, your feelings are hurt. So you might say some things that just is.
But it's funny what you say because for example, if I present a dog, if I win a prize, I have this impress that some people will think, yeah, it's because he make videos on YouTube or something like that.
Of course.
But the same dog, I give this dog to someone else. I gave this dog to someone else another day.
Yes.
And he still won. So you cannot. And it was even not my dog, my personal dog. It was the dog of my friend, but different judges from ADBA.
Yep.
Also, the president, Mr. Hanks, he chose this dog. So I think it's not like by coincidence.
No.
So
it happens. It just happens. It's part of the territory.
Yeah.
You get used to it. My responsibility is to explain my picks if you want to know, but it's always to pick the best dog. So it's not always easy.
And can you share a memorable story from a show? But yes, not a so long story because we don't. But yes, do you have a memorable story? But maybe a small thing or maybe a big thing. I don't know.
Yeah. In terms of a story, what are you looking for? Like just
something funny or something terrible? I don't know.
I don't necessarily know. One of the things that I do enjoy is when I have the opportunity. I was, just for this show alone, I was very surprised that there was over 170 dogs. Was taken back by it. It's not a funny story. It's more about good promotion. That's always what I'm looking for, whether I'm showing my own dogs. Since I've had them, I bet you I've had maybe 8, 9 confirmation champions. I take great pride in my dogs. I enjoy seeing the competition. I mean, it's collective. I mean, it's not just one story that stands out. It's just collectively, I enjoy the betterment of the breed. It's what I would tell you.
And what would you like people to remember about you?
Oh, man. What would I want people to remember about me? That I was a fair judge, caring, that I did my best always to promote the breed in a positive light, that I love my family. You want to be just a good human being. That's what I want to be remembered by. But I also am very comfortable knowing that if everybody likes you, then you're probably not doing your job right. So you strip that all away. I just want to be remembered that I was a good, fair judge, that I cared about my family, I cared about my sons, that I would help people. I do my best to help people with the breed, and that'd be about it.
Top. But as I said at the beginning of the conversation, it's the first time I meet you.
Yes.
And really, I'm happy. It was a nice conversation.
Yeah.
For sure, we could talk all the night about different subjects, but I think all this kind of interview can give to the people who are watching us some information who will make them think more and maybe make some research or something like that. So for me, it's a way to
to try to give to them the motivation to learn more.
Absolutely. That's what it's about. That to give the breed a chance, see him in the positive light, not negative opportunity. That's what it's about. You know, and hopefully it even, you know, gets people even to come to more shows in Europe. That'd be amazing. Yeah.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
the
Thank you so
interview.
much.
And see you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bon les gars, c'était la fin, c'est la fin et je vous remercie d'avoir suivi cette vidéo. J'espère qu'elle vous a plu, j'en ferai encore davantage avec des gens qui viennent de différents pays. Vous savez comment ça se passe, on donne notre meilleur, parfois des interviews, parfois du sport, des entraînements, les guides d'entraînement aussi de sport. Donc on met le paquet pour vous donner des vidéos de motivation aussi et j'espère que vous allez continuer d'apprécier. Likez, mettez votre petit commentaire, votre question et soyez prêts pour la prochaine vidéo. Et n'oubliez pas, ça va se passer entre vous, moi et tous ceux qui veulent savoir. Bye bye.